Welcome back to Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet. I'm Josh.
And I'm Kristie. Don't say I do. It's time to call off that wedding.
That's right. Today's episode is all about reasons to cut and run before you get to the altar. So let's get to our first one.
Am I the asshole if I break up with my fiancé after she showed a startling change of behavior after getting engaged?
Ooh, how bad could the change have been?
I, male 32, just recently proposed to my girlfriend of 2 years, Sharon, female 30, like a month and a half ago. And it feels like the second the ring got on her finger, her attitude and behavior took a total 180. The entire time we were dating, we seemed exceptionally compatible, and at least it seemed we shared common beliefs and morals. 7 weeks ago, I proposed and she said yes, and I felt like it was the happiest moment for the two of us. But not even a week later, it's like her attitude totally flipped. I thought I knew all of her friends, but one day I came home and there were 6 women I'd never seen before, and Sharon introduced me to them. I was curious as to why I was just now meeting them when I had already met Sharon's 2 best friends, Michelle and Octavia, both not present, over a year and a half ago. Sharon said she wanted to make sure we were a sure thing before I met her inner circle.
Wait, she has like an inner circle?
A secret inner circle.
So these are her super best friends.
That she didn't want you to know about for some reason.
Is she like a villain? What is this?
I found this strange, not to mention it was a weeknight and they were quickly draining my wine rack of wine. Sharon still had her own place, but she stayed with me so often she practically lives here. Still, I found it incredibly rude when they left with 4 empty bottles of rosé in their wake. I tried to talk to Sharon about having uninvited guests on weeknights, and she dismissed my grievance very flippantly. More that she brushed me off. The following weeks, she went out with the girls several times, and when she brought the girls to my place, twice without notice, once with notice to appease me, in her words, they all treated me like a butler, shaking their empty wine glasses at me for refills.
Sorry, she just has these 6 friends that you've never met before that she's suddenly hanging out with all the time, and her 2 previous best friends have just disappeared?
Yeah.
That's super weird.
After the 4th time, I made it clear that I will get a locked wine rack. Sharon just called me no fun after that. It gets worse. Sharon decided me and the girls got off on the wrong foot and said we should have dinner together at a nice restaurant. Well, I went, and it was not great. The 6 kept prodding me about my life, my house, my career, but deflected every question I asked. It got especially bad at night when they started talking about modern relationships and jealousy, and one of them brought up some key points about relationships that I thought Sharon and I were on the same page about, specifically what-ifs regarding polyamory and being friends with exes. To my shock, Sharon said we shouldn't be too hasty on such decisions, which was a total 180 to how she expressed herself on these things only a month prior, where she was vehemently against keeping ex-intimate partners in friend circles and was staunchly monogamous.
I thought OP was just going to reveal that Sharon lied about her political affiliation or something, not that she has this secret extra life with mysterious friends and suddenly she's polyamorous. What is going on?
The worst part was when the bill arrived, Sharon announced it should be together and slid me the check. I told her she can't be serious, and we got into a bit of an argument. I ended it by putting my amount down in cash and walked out, leaving them to figure out the rest of the bill. The next day after that, Sharon kept calling me toxic and fragile, but every time I even pushed at it, she would give an apology and promised she was just stressed at work. It's nuts. We haven't even planned the wedding yet. The worst part was this Monday, when at work, I got a Nest doorbell alert. I checked and saw Sharon and one of her 6 new friends arriving at my place, going in and exiting with my golf clubs. This set was a gift from my father, and it cost a pretty penny too. So Sharon lending it out without my permission got me pissed. I immediately called Sharon and told her and her friend to return the clubs.
I know you're engaged, but Sharon is very comfortable to just turn up at your place with a big group of friends. Why aren't they hanging out at her place? And just taking your golf clubs is weird too.
Sharon tried to gaslight me with, "But you promised to lend the clubs to her boyfriend, remember?" I told her that the club's cost would move it into a serious crime and her friend had an hour to return them or the cops would be called. Sharon kept insisting she got my permission and I told her to cut the crap. Well, not 45 minutes later, I got another notification of Sharon and her friend coming back with the clubs and going inside, leaving them. Sharon's friend flipping off the Nest doorbell on the way out.
This is getting a little unhinged. What is going on with Sharon? Is she going through some sort of life crisis? Getting engaged made her realize that she's getting old, so she's going through like a quarter life crisis.
I got home and saw Sharon's friend literally just threw the clubs on the living room floor. Sharon tried to talk to me about my toxicity again, and I told her again to cut the crap. I said if I knew this was how she was, I would have never proposed. That seemed to freak her out, and she again insisted that she was stressed from work, but I wasn't buying it anymore.
This does sound like some kind of like weird peer pressure thing, like she fell in with a new group of friends and suddenly her whole personality has changed to match them.
I told her to return the ring and her key, and we would talk about our relationship this weekend. She cried and begged me not to cancel the engagement and insisted that it was just stress. I told her again we will talk about it this weekend. She finally relented. I had my house rekeyed anyways after she left, just to be safe. He really doesn't trust her now.
No, things have taken a really weird turn in your relationship.
Sharon has been texting me constant messages of love and apologies for getting swept up and insisted she was only wanting to show me off to her close friends. I don't know. I'm just not buying it. The same close friends have been sending me texts daily, calling me toxic and fragile again, saying they knew I wasn't man enough for Sharon or secure enough to share her with friends. A few of my friends that knew Sharon the entire 2 years we were dating were surprised and can't believe she turned hide this quick, and that there must be something missing or that I'm leaving something out. They say I must have said something to trigger her friends to act like this, and that I had to have been the asshole somewhere along the process. I don't know. It's a lot to take from all directions right now. There's an update, but what do you think?
I'm just still really confused as to where these 6 women came from. You've been dating Sharon for long enough to get engaged. She had 2 best friends, and then suddenly those 2 best friends mysteriously disappear, and there's 6 friends that are like changing Sharon's personality. This sounds like some sort of like ancient curse. Doesn't it? Like her friends disappeared and suddenly there's this mysterious group that turns out to be witches. I don't know what's happening.
I almost feel like she so wanted to get married and secure a man that she like hid her toxic friend group from him until she had a ring on the finger. She should have hidden it until they were married, though. Ring on the finger is not a sure thing.
You think that she had this group of friends all along? Who were the 2 best friends before? Like paid actors?
Okay, OP does answer a comment about that because someone asked, you said you met 2 of her friends, Michelle and Octavia, previously. Have they had anything to say about this flipped behavior or the 6 strangers that materialized? And he says, I did message Michelle on Facebook last night. I asked her about the 6, and she told me that her, Octavia, and Sharon are cousins that grew up together. Michelle said that she didn't really care for the 6, but didn't say much else.
Wow, okay, so this was just a group of 6 toxic friends that she's been hiding from you for your entire relationship.
And she brought in her cousins and was like, these are my friends. Look, I have nice friends.
It sounds like Sharon is very aware of how bad these friends are and how hard it is to date while they're around.
Someone says, 2 years and she didn't introduce you to these friends? She knows how terrible they are and how terrible she is with them. She put on quite a show to get the ring, and now that she thought she had you locked down, she can show her true colors.
I can't imagine going into a relationship while hiding that much. How desperate are you to get married that you just hide everything about yourself to this extent?
Apparently very desperate.
Like, you think that the marriage is gonna work out when you do that?
Okay, on to the update. Sharon has been gone now for an hour. Breakup is official. I have the ring back. None of our finances were intermingled yet, but it was planned for later this month, which won't happen. I invited 3 of our mutual friends, Casey, John, and Mike, to be here when Sharon got here. Sharon showed up and was surprised to see we had company. I said they were here for both of our sakes. Sharon wanted to phone 3 of the 6 to come over to even things out, and I refused, and I even used the club theft as a reason.
Why do her friends have some sort of ominous nickname?
The 6.
What, does everyone just call them the 6, or is OP just using that in the post a lot? Because it sounds super ominous.
It does. Like they're like a little culty coven.
Yeah, That's super weird, isn't it?
Sharon sat on the couch very dramatically and then asked if I really wanted to make this public. I outright asked why she changed so much after the engagement and why she hid the existence of the 6. You're right, the 6. It is ominous.
It's super ominous. It sounds like the title of a horror movie.
Sharon then went in again about how she insulates her inner circle until a partner is vetted. I called BS. I met her parents, and what's more inner circle than your parents?
Apparently, this group of friends.
They were dating for 2 years, and he wasn't vetted enough to meet her friends until she had a ring.
That's so weird.
Sharon tried to deflect, but I wouldn't have it. I pointed out how for the last month, her friends dropping by cost me nearly $500 in wine, which she, by the way, made no attempt to reimburse.
You just kept restocking the wine?
Apparently. I was like, you drink it, it's gone, that's it. But maybe he wants to have some wine, so, he restocked.
Did he just have $500 of wine in stock? Because he said they were drinking rosé, which is not like an expensive beverage.
I also pointed out her trying to make me pay an 8-person dinner bill without asking me first. She again said she wanted to show how great a guy I was and how she clearly misjudged me and was disappointed in my attitude. I then asked about the clubs. She tried gaslighting me with, you totally said it was okay, remember? And I kept saying bullshit. Mike piped in. He knew the clubs were a gift from my dad, and I was highly protective of them.
Most guys are very protective of their golf clubs. You don't want somebody borrowing them and just breaking it in half. Those are expensive.
Especially he just met this girl and it's her boyfriend wants to borrow them. He doesn't know him.
That's a stranger.
Mike also called BS, and that's when Sharon turned her attention to Mike and John, saying, isn't he getting forgetful lately? Don't you remember when he forgot that one date? And neither was buying it.
It is so weird that she is trying to gaslight you to this extent. How could that possibly work? Oh, you're getting so forgetful lately. OP is not old.
It's not like they're a senior.
No.
They're 32.
They're 32. That's not a forgetful age.
I finally said to forget postponing the wedding or canceling the engagement. The entire relationship is going to end if she isn't going to be straight with me. Sharon made a very long, exaggerated sigh. She took the ring off and dropped it on the coffee table. She got up to leave and said, you're never going to find someone as good as me, and to send her stuff to her apartment. She left, and Casey, John, and Mike were totally stunned. All I could say was, believe me now? We ordered pizza and are waiting for it to arrive now. I'm still utterly shocked and confused by Sharon's attitude. I'm sure the heartbreak will come next, but right now I'm just kind of numb, and that's the end.
First off, I want to point out how weird it is that OP decided to invite some mutuals to the discussion and only invited men.
Do you think Casey's a guy? I assume Casey was a girl.
Casey could be a girl, I suppose. Sorry, you're right. That is kind of a gender neutral one. But if they're all men, that's super weird, OP.
Yeah, a little bit. That's ganging up on her with 4 men.
Yeah.
That is a little intimidation, tactics, I feel.
But you're right. Casey is a gender neutral name. I'm going to give OP a little benefit of a doubt and say there was one other girl present. But I can't blame OP for breaking up when she shifts this much. That is such an extreme change.
It's like she had a whole secret life he didn't know about. And I don't know if I'd be able to get over that.
Yeah. And not only did she have a secret life that he didn't know about, her whole personality changed when she revealed that life.
And calling him toxic and fragile all the time. That's that's just weird.
That's not the sign of a healthy relationship if you're constantly gaslighting your partner and calling them toxic and stuff. But I apparently have been reading far too many fantasy books lately because I can't stop assuming that they were some sort of occult beings. Just the way that they materialized out of the air and your whole partner's whole personality changed. I think she was possessed. Is it just me?
Some other people in the comments are thinking they're a little bit cult-like, not exactly paranormal like you're going, but
I mean, I'm not saying that witches are real or anything. It sure sounds like a horror story, doesn't it?
The more she talks about this inner circle, the more it feels like a cult where the goal is to drain the life and money out of anyone who has the misfortune of dating one of them.
See, I think that person thought the same thing as me. This is some sort of witch's coven that wants to drain the youth from men.
And money.
And money.
You're stealing the golf clubs because they're expensive.
That commenter just was too cowardly to admit that this is obviously paranormal activity.
The 6, it's like they're the fucking Nazgul or something.
Right? If Sharon or anyone other than OP calls them that, that's super strange. Like, I don't know if that was just OP paraphrasing multiple times throughout the story, or if everybody calls them the six.
Once you include Sharon, then there's 7. Do people call them the 7? It's just the 6 friends she has, plus Sharon.
Yeah, right?
But at the very least, the Nazgul won't drink all your wine and try to steal your golf clubs. That's got to be an upgrade from this chick.
That is true. The Nazgul are also obsessed with just getting that ring.
Yeah, that's true. But Reddit is firmly NTA. She's crazy and you're better off without her. Good thing she showed her true colors before the wedding and you really dodged a bullet.
Yeah, this wasn't a small color change either. This was like she suddenly became neon.
Am I the asshole for bringing up my brother's 4 kids to his fiancé and potentially ruining an engagement?
Like, does that mean that he got engaged without revealing that he had children? Because that's terrible.
Okay, so I, 22 female, have an older brother, 28 male, that we'll call Jamie. We've been roommates ever since I was about 17. In that time, I've seen a lot of girls come and go, even when he was in a relationship with different girls. I'm not a huge fan of his actions or how he treats women in general, but it's his life and he's free to mess it up as much as he wants to, so I turn a blind eye to it. He has 4 kids. His oldest daughter is 10 and is the only one that he actually pays any child support on, but he rarely sees her. The other 2 are twin boys, 4, that he had with one of my close friends. She didn't take him to court, so I do my best to provide for them if she needs help. His son, I don't really know much about. I think he's around 8. He doesn't want kids and doesn't see them but maybe a handful of times around the year and doesn't see his 8-year-old son at all. He calls the ones he has accidents and has said before that he wishes he hadn't had them because he gets irritated when their mothers call him.
He sounds like a great guy.
So essentially what happened was 3 years ago, Jamie met a girl named Natalie and they've immediately hit it off. She's moved into our apartment and I like her well enough. With his habits, I didn't expect her to last very long, but she surprised us both. Since I planned on moving out in a few months, she's been talking about renovating my room and all sorts of stuff they could do with the space. She even laughingly said that maybe it could be a nursery. I thought it was a joke and brushed it off. Well, a couple weeks ago, while I was out at dinner with my friends, he had decorated the apartment and proposed to her. I congratulated them and didn't have any problems with this until a few nights ago when we were all drinking and talking. Natalie was gushing about her plans for the wedding and her bridesmaids and her new ring. Here's what went wrong. She mentioned how she wanted kids as soon as she could and how she could see my brother being the best dad. I started laughing. Basically what I said was, he hasn't been the best dad to the 4 he has now.
Wow, yeah. I mean, when he's acting like that, I don't care that you didn't pull your punches.
She asked what I meant and my brother started to freak out. I realized she didn't know and explained how he wasn't raising his kids and how he didn't even want to see them and didn't want kids at all. Apparently, he hadn't told her about any of this.
How did he expect that to go?
She's gotta find out eventually, right?
She's gonna find out when a lawyer starts pounding on their door looking for child support.
My brother was drunk and started yelling, so I called a friend and left. I stayed away a day or 2 and he blew up my phone. I guess he and Natalie are fighting horribly and he blamed me for it.
Sounds like Natalie wants to have kids. And it sounds like brother should not reproduce anymore.
I ruined his engagement and I'm an asshole for telling her, as it should have been his choice to tell her about the kids.
No, it's not his choice to tell her about the kids.
Our parents agree with him and haven't been talking to me.
God, your whole family sucks.
Well, now you know where the brother gets his sense of morality and what, is okay to not tell your fiance.
Apparently, how many siblings do you have that you don't know about?
Oh my God, that's a good point. Honestly, I feel like I warned her before things got too serious, even if it wasn't deliberate. He should have told her before about them. So, am I the asshole here?
Not in the least. That poor woman that he dated her to the point that they got engaged and never revealed that he had 4 kids. I don't even know how you pull that con off.
They've been dating 3 years. How do you hide 4 children for 3 years? I mean, even if you're not seeing them and you're only paying child support on one of them, how do you hide that?
The twins are 4.
Yes. So the twins were born and a year later he started dating Natalie.
How on earth do you date a woman for most of the lifespan of 2 of your kids and they never find out that you have kids? These other women need to be a little more assertive about child support. Like, it's cool that you're helping your nephews financially, but he needs to help.
It shouldn't be her responsibility to help her nephews, right? It should be on him.
Yeah, it's not her responsibility, but she is an aunt. She's allowed to help them, right?
And she's friends with their mom, so yeah.
But having said that, you really need to be kind of whooping your brother's ass and making him pay some child support.
Also, I want to point out that, like, if you are trying to keep this a secret from your spouse, you need to get everybody else who knows on board with it. He did not give his sister a heads up at all that this was secret information.
Probably because he knew she'd never be on board with it. Who on earth would agree to that plan? Well, apparently their parents would agree to that plan. I don't know. Your whole family needs to have their asses kicked.
Top comment, NTA. It's been 3 years. If he hasn't told her by now, then he did not plan on telling her. He's withholding a huge piece of information from her by not telling her he has 4 kids.
Yeah, I guess he was just hoping that they would never reach out to him. Gross. This is super gross.
NTA. I find it funny how he claims it's his choice to tell her if he has children, but sees nothing wrong with taking away Natalie's choice of deciding whether or not she wants to be in a relationship or marry a man who has chosen not to take care of his 4 children. Why does he get to have a choice, but she doesn't get the choice to make an informed decision?
I think anybody with pattern recognition skills will look at that and realize the second he knocks you up, he's gonna run.
Yeah, since OP's moving out, her bedroom can be a nursery, but the brother's going to move out too as soon as it turns into a nursery.
Yeah, right? He seems like a runner.
So Reddit is firmly NTA, and you didn't ruin his engagement. He ruined his own engagement by lying and leading this poor woman on.
Yeah, it sounds like your brother is not relationship material.
And it's better that Natalie finds out now rather than later when she's pregnant.
Yeah, absolutely. It's better that Natalie finds out now.
Hey, if you're enjoying this episode so far, go ahead and do us a favor and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, we really appreciate your support, and it lets us know that we should keep making fun content like this for you.
Am I the asshole for calling off my wedding and telling my fiancé to move back home with mommy?
I mean, that sounds a little mean, but maybe they're a big mama's boy.
I'm not going to try and swing this in my favor here by leaving out details or sugarcoating anything. I was mean about it. He was crying.
Okay, so it was mean.
It was mean, and she admits it. I've been with my fiancé for 7 years, and we have been engaged for 3 years. We have gone ahead and tried to do a save the date 4 times now, and every single time, his mom convinces him to postpone. It's always well, don't you think you have bigger things to worry about? Whether it be our living situation, we are renting, and she thinks we should buy first because we aren't stable. Or our money situation, this was her excuse after we loaned her $8,000 so she didn't lose her house. But we have plenty of money as my husband is an RN and I'm a lawyer. It's always just something. We're planning for the wedding to be a small family gathering in my mom's backyard. She has 3 acres and a beautiful pond, and it's just perfect. And we are doing a potluck, so very low-cost wedding. Plus, everyone we know lives within an hour of the location, so only giving a month or 2 notice is perfectly acceptable in our case.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds okay.
With all this said, his mom has 0 reason to try and sway us against it. But her newest argument is that we need to wait until our daughter is at least 3 so she can be our flower girl. She's currently 7 months old.
I don't know if we're going to learn more information, but his mom's reasons for postponing the wedding have all been just crazy.
Buying a house before you get married? That seems really weird. Like, don't do that until you're like legally combined assets, right?
Yeah, OP's a lawyer. She should know how badly that can go if you start combining assets to that extent before you're married.
Yeah, like everyone says, don't buy a house together until you're married. And his mom is like, do the opposite. Buy a house first and then you can get married. Because you can't get married until you're stable and own a house.
Yeah, and then saying that you're not financially stable when you had to loan her money.
Like his mom obviously does not want them to get married and just keeps coming up with reasons.
Yeah, obviously. I have been to several weddings where they had like a 7-month-old flower girl, and usually like the aunt just carries her.
Pull her in a wagon down the aisle, or someone carries her.
Yep, it's not that uncommon.
Well, in December, my fiancé and I talked, and we decided we wanted to get married in August. I told him, don't let your mom dictate it, and he said he wouldn't and that he was tired of listening to her. Fair enough. But last weekend, my mother and his mother both came for dinner, and I was talking to my mom about what dress I wanted her to wear as the matron of honor. My husband's mom asked when we planned to tell her we had decided on a date, and my husband said, when we told everyone else. She just said, oh, and got quiet and took leave maybe 20 minutes later. He had already made plans to go over to her house after dinner to help her with her cable box, so he left shortly after that to head over to her place while I drank some wine with my mom. When he got back, he was super quiet but said he was just tired and went to bed. But last night he said, at random, "My mom kinda has a point. Maybe we should wait until we buy a house so our living situation is a bit more stable." She's not wrong in saying that it should be something we are worried about.
It sounds like you're spending next to nothing on this wedding. You can start looking for a house pretty soon after you're married. I don't understand why house is at all tied to wedding. I guess buy it beforehand if you want. You both have pretty good paying careers. Why don't you just go out and get the loan? It sounds like Fiancé and his mom are just kind of imagining a house in the future instead of taking any steps. I don't know. I don't like the logic.
I just went silent and didn't comment because I was pissed off. But he kept making comments like, "It'll only be a couple of years, 5 at most."
5 now?
Why do you have to wait 5 years to get a house to get married?
What happened to doing it when your daughter was 3? That's like 2.5 years.
I just took my ring off and handed it to him and said that I was no longer interested. He immediately started protesting and trying to put the ring back on my finger, and I wouldn't let him. I said I was no longer interested in marrying him and maybe he should move back home with mommy because I know for a fact that that woman will make up another excuse the second we buy a house, and I'm really just so turned off at the thought of marrying him at this point because I have zero business being with a man who has no backbone and would put our lives on hold in favor of a woman who still wants to scrub his back in the shower. As I said, I was mean about it.
Kind of sounds like you were very justified being mean, though. He's really been dragging his feet here.
But to clear it up now, no, she has not said that she wants to scrub his back in the shower, but she often talks about how she had to help him shower for months when he was 16 because he broke his leg. And as the story goes, he told her he didn't want help and she forced it because she's fucking weird. And it's even weirder that she still talks about it like it's a fond memory to see her 16-year-old naked.
Okay, that is weird.
But that went off on a weird tangent, but...
Yeah, it was also a little mean of you to reveal that story to Reddit, even if you are keeping this post kind of anonymous.
He's crying at this point, and I'm stupid calm. Maybe because I'm over it and I told him I wanted him to leave. Or I could leave. But those were the only options. He ended up leaving, sobbing the entire time. I do feel bad. I feel gutted. He means everything to me, but I can't do this anymore. Am I the asshole? His mom has been blowing up my phone with texts, trying to plead her case, and I just texted back and said, "No, it's fine. You won. Now you can have your baby boy back full time," and blocked her number. My friends think I'm wildly overreacting.
I don't think you're overreacting at all. It's crazy that he's letting his mom push him around to this extent. He's a nurse. How does he not know how to handle people? And like, the second you have a kid, you have to accept that you're an adult and you have to make your own decisions. You can't just let mom make all the decisions anymore.
I can't believe that they had a kid and weren't like, "Hey, maybe this is the time to get married."
It sounds like they were talking about it at that point, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's what most people do. And they're like, "No," mom seems to think, "No, you need to have a house, a grown child, and be really stable and have all your life goals before you get married."
That is such a weird order. No, you get married because you like each other, and then
the stable life comes later.
Yeah, then the stable life comes later when you work at it as a team.
I just can't believe that he's been yanking her around for 7 years, being like, "Yeah, we're totally going to get married," and then pulling it back and stuff. And she's just finally had enough, and I don't blame her.
No, at a certain point, you have to accept that this isn't going anywhere and you got to cut it off. It really sucks. But I don't know what else you could have done in that situation.
Top comment, NTA, and I don't know who would honestly tell you you've overreacted because you finally got fed up with his mom literally dictating how 2 adults with careers and a child will live their lives. I don't know how you didn't leave sooner.
Yeah, I know mom is tough to say no to, but he's a whole ass adult.
NTA, finances and stability aside, no grown man should let his mother postpone his wedding 4+ times.
Also, can I just point out, that I can't get the mental image of him trying to put the ring back on your finger when you handed it to him out of my head.
No, 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 no. Put it back on. Put it back on. I'm sorry. Take it back.
Yeah. If I get it back on your finger, it doesn't count.
What kind of little kid logic is that? NTA, even after you buy a house, there will be another excuse. Sadly, he had the chance to stand his ground and failed for the last time. Sorry for the loss of your relationship, but it sounds like it was for the best. And Reddit also agrees it's a terrible idea to buy a house with someone you're not married to.
Yeah, right? I can't understand mother's thought process here. I get not wanting to lose your baby boy and be all alone, but also good parents generally want what's best for their kid. Like, you want to see your kid get married off. You want to see them have a stable life. You want to see them become like successful adults. And he's marrying what sounds like a good woman. Like, she's a lawyer. They have a kid together. They're building a life. Like, I can't imagine being the type of person that would just throw a wrench into that.
Oh, OP has a comment. People are like, don't buy a house with someone you haven't married. It's a nightmare. And OP replies, yeah, his mom's been trying to convince him that we should buy a house with her so we can help each other for at least 4 years now. His mother is really trying to insert herself into their lives.
So essentially, mom wants to move in with the two of you?
Sounds like, yeah.
I don't like that. You're newlyweds. You want some privacy.
Well, they're not newlyweds.
Well, they would have been newlyweds if he hadn't screwed everything up.
Am I the asshole for canceling my wedding because my fiancé was careless with my dog?
I mean, chances are you've had the dog longer than you've had the fiancé, so I'd say dog outranks him.
He has been with the dog longer than the fiancé, you're right. Me, 28 male, and fiancé, 27 female, have been together for 4 years, engaged for 6 months. I also have a 7-year-old lab mix who is the greatest dog in existence. On Saturday, fiancé had a bachelorette party at home. I stayed with my parents, but I left the dog with her because she likes having him there. However, I made sure to tell her to put the dog in our bedroom once the party got going. 5 a.m. on Sunday, I get a frantic call that something's wrong with the dog. She was drunk, so I told her to get a taxi and go to the emergency vet clinic. When I got there, she looked like she hadn't stopped crying for hours and she couldn't even speak. 2 of her friends were there, so they told me my dog is alive but not well. I felt sorry for an entire 10 minutes while waiting for the doctor. But then, the doctor told me my dog ingested large amounts of alcohol and chocolate edibles. The girls apparently thought it would be cool to leave everything out on short coffee tables, leave the dog to wander around instead of putting him in our bedroom, and then get wasted and not notice he was going to town with the booze and the edibles.
Okay, the dog joined the party, huh?
It really joined in, exuberantly. You know how dogs like to eat food off tables.
Yeah.
When we get home, I told my fiancé to pack and get out of my house and my life. I told her to tell her guests the wedding is off and I'll tell mine. She was shocked, but took her things and left.
Wow, I know she really screwed up with the dog, but I feel like you're kind of making a decision in the heat of the moment here, friend.
2 hours later, I get bombarded by messages on Messenger, WhatsApp, by her sisters, brother's wife, her mom, her friends, telling me that I am insane to do this to her after 4 years. They started off defending her, but it quickly turned into insulting me.
Yeah, that's gonna help, guys.
The logical thing for me to do was look for comfort in my friends and family. Nope, they all agree. My mom said, well, it was a mistake. She didn't do it on purpose. Besides, the dog didn't die. Lucky me, eh? My dog didn't die.
I mean, this is gonna make me sound a little heartless, but the only bad thing you've said about her is that she accidentally left your dog out during a party and it got into something it shouldn't. Dogs get into things they shouldn't all the time.
But he told her to put the dog away.
I know, but like sometimes we forget things. This sounds like she made one mistake and you're flipping out.
My sister was appalled that I canceled the wedding over that, and even my best man said I might have overreacted. Yes, our relationship has had ups and downs, but it's mostly worked fine. But I'm so disgusted at my fiancé that I can't even imagine looking her in the eye, let alone spending my whole life with her. She isn't 17, she's 27. By the way, this is not the first dumb thing she has done. She likes to text while driving. She always leaves stuff on the electric stove, like kitchen towels, the cutting board, etc., even though she has turned on the wrong burner and burned whatever was on it several times in the past, and similar dangerous things. It's not something I hold against her in the sense that I would ever mention it in a fight, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried that she might end up killing herself or someone else. For example, my dog.
Okay, but was she like in the kitchen to turn the stove back off once the cutting board started smoking? Like, that's just something that happens sometimes while you're cooking. I feel like I'm defending her a lot, but I feel like mistakes do happen. And over the course of 7 years, sure, you accidentally burnt a cutting board. I've done that. We've all, like, I let a pot boil down all the way and then I burned some rice on the stove. It happens. I ruined a pot, right? Like, I feel like he's really overreacting. And I know your dog is super important to you. Our dogs are super important to us. But if one of us made a mistake and, God forbid, the dog passed away because of it, I don't think we would end our relationship.
I hope not, but I hope that never happens.
Correct. We try to be responsible dog owners. I just feel like he's going ballistic over a dog being a dog and your girlfriend forgetting one thing.
I'm 99% sure I will stand by my decision, but am I really an asshole? Literally nobody is on my side and I have no idea what to think.
I think it's cute that you think that you have the option whether or not you get to stand by your decision. You ended a relationship in the heat of the moment. You don't get to just decide one-sidedly that, no, I'll retract that and the wedding's back on. You have stabbed your fiance in the back. You have to live with those consequences. If you think that this plus all the other things that she does is enough to break up, fine. This is your decision. You are an adult. But you don't get to just retract it later because you've decided, no, I was just kind of mad. And I'll also add in, your girlfriend was showing like legitimate remorse at the vet. She was crying openly about that something went wrong. She knows it's her fault.
Okay, so Reddit is a little bit of split on whether NTA or YTA or everybody sucks here, but there is one thing they all agree on. This relationship should be over.
Oh, that is a great way to put it. This relationship should be over. I'm not sure of the reason.
Top comment, she clearly doesn't mean that much to you, so yeah, leave over this. I have a cat who I adore beyond reason, and if my current boyfriend accidentally hurt him, I'd be pissed and upset, but your dog isn't dead. If he's more important than your woman, that relationship is doomed. I've been in a relationship where I would have chosen my cat over them, but that is not a good relationship.
Yeah, and it was accidental. Like, if she had thought it was funny to feed your dog these things, yeah, end that relationship in a heartbeat. But the dog got into something. Dogs, that's what dogs specialize in.
Another comment, everyone sucks here, and reading through your replies to most people, it seems you've got a lot of issues with your partner's behavior and you were possibly looking for a good enough reason in your head to end it. I hazard a guess that everything you've listed has been getting to you over time, that the marriage would not have lasted long after that.
It does kind of sound like this was either a last straw or just an excuse to end it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he really respects his girlfriend or fiance. Like, he was saying that this isn't the first dumb thing she's done. Here's all the reckless things she likes to do.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a very low opinion of her and you really should not marry her.
So I get being concerned about, like, careless and dangerous behavior, but maybe you shouldn't have proposed to her if you knew that's how she was.
Yeah, I don't understand why so many people propose to somebody they don't want to marry. Like, do these people just figure we've been dating for a while, so we should get engaged just because time has passed? That's not how marriage works.
Now, a lot of Reddit also thinks NTA because this is extreme careless behavior. And what if this was like a kid? Can you have kids with this woman and trust that she'll take care of your kids and not kill them accidentally? NTA, that level of carelessness could lead to death. What would people say if she had done the same thing with a kid around? It's pretty obvious how you feel. Getting out now seems like a better option than having this fester until the divorce.
I guess. I feel like with a kid, you generally would get a babysitter before you start drinking and doing edibles.
That is true.
Like with a kid, you don't just tuck them in the bedroom so they're out of the way like you do with a dog. So that does seem very different in my opinion.
Someone else wants to point out that he knows that she is a super careless person, but continued to date her and left his dog with her. Leaving the dog with a careless person is just as irresponsible.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like he doesn't trust her, and he left the dog with her anyways.
So Reddit could not come to a definitive conclusion on whether he was the asshole or not, but think it was totally okay that he is breaking up with his fiancée because this just doesn't sound like a relationship that's going to work out anyways.
Yeah, one way or the other, it sure sounds like it's for the best that this relationship is ending.
Am I the asshole for giving my ring back after my fiancé made a comment to his guy friends regarding why we haven't gotten married?
I mean, it obviously depends on the comment, but yeah, I guess end the engagement for whatever reason you want. It's your life.
My fiancé and I, both 30, have been together for 8 years and engaged for 4 years. We got engaged right before COVID really hit, and obviously that put a huge halt on any sort of planning. And then, from there forward, life events halted it more. We became homeless, ended up pregnant and having our child. Now we are back on our feet, but not financially where we could be yet. Back roughly 5 months ago-ish, I brought up marriage and basically approached the idea of having a backyard wedding or a potluck. Basically going cheap because I don't really care so much about the wedding or price or whatever. I just want to wear a pretty dress and have all eyes on me and get married to the love of my life.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I don't care about the expensive bells and whistles. When I brought it up, he told me that that probably wouldn't be a bad idea and that we could probably try planning for July-ish of next year. Okay, but we haven't really talked about it since that point, as other shit came up. Here's the issue, though. Back about a month ago, we were down to our neighbor's home, people who have grown to be really good friends since we moved here about a year and a half ago, and I was hanging out with the neighbor's wife and her best friend. My fiancé was hanging out with a group of 3 to 4 guys, having beers and working on vehicles. Well, one of the guys there was talking about his wife and said, once you get married, everything fucking stops. I overheard in the middle of the conversation, so I have no idea what stops during marriage, but it was a negative comment regardless. I think we pretty much know what stops.
Life. Yeah, I don't think that there was any positive connotation for that.
But anyways, my fiancé then starts laughing and goes, that's why I've been dragging my feet on marriage. And the guys just laughed and said, don't do it, man, it's a trap, etc. It really hurt me, but I figured it was just locker room talk and tried my best to move on.
That does sound a little like just a kind of guy joke.
Yeah, it's like the cliche joke, right?
Yeah.
It's not really funny, but the guys keep making it.
Pretty much. Like, it's just sort of like what you're expected to say in that situation. It doesn't make it a great comment, but it is just kind of locker room talk.
But like, I couldn't let it go. It sat in the back of my head. So a couple weeks ago, I brought up getting married again and just ran some ideas by him on simple things, like what he saw our wedding colors being, and he shut down a bit and said something to the effect of, I think we need to weigh the pros and cons of being married first, and shut down the conversation.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't just locker room talk, it was actual cold feet.
Instant plunge to my gut, honestly. So I walk outside to calm myself down, but I just couldn't shake it, honestly. So I went back inside and calmly handed him my ring back and asked him what he wanted for dinner. I didn't want to make a big deal, so there was no yelling, no crying, nothing. I was calm and moved on. But he instantly asked me what I was doing and why I gave the ring back. So I mentioned his comment to his buddies about dragging his feet, and now his comments about needing to wait and weigh the pros and cons before going through with anything, and I told him I don't want to wait, nor do I want to get my hopes up for a marriage that he's clearly changed his mind about, so I would rather he have the ring back and go into this without the sound of wedding bells in my head. Let's just move on, basically. We can still be together, but I don't want my hopes up. Well, he got extremely defensive, started saying, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, and you're being extreme for no reason. So, am I the asshole?
This is one of those guys that needs a supportive best man. You can't just hang out with the guys who make the jokes about how much marriage sucks while still being married. Probably happily, right? And then they just go and do the locker room talk and like joke around that marriage is so bad. You need the supportive best man who, when you get cold feet, is going to slap you across the face and say, no, it's good. You love this girl.
Yeah, you need someone who tells you marriage is great. This is awesome. You want to do it.
Yeah, you do. You can't just surround yourself with all these negative people like this. It does sound like he got cold feet, and it also kind of sounds like those cold feet are the fault of his guy friends constantly making jokes about how everything's going to stop and everything's going to get worse. Not excusing his behavior at all. You have to be an adult and make your own decisions. And if he's just going to drag his feet, I can't blame you for handing that ring back.
I also feel like a lot of women, when they handed the ring back, would have been like, relationship over. And she's like, no, we can still be together. I just don't want to, have this false expectation that we're going to get married when it's never going to happen. And I feel like that's kind of reasonable on her part. Like, she's not way overreacting.
It's almost underreacting.
Yeah, I feel like she's underreacting.
Was so underreacting that it seems unreasonable.
I can't think of many people or many situations where you hand the engagement ring back but still stay with the person.
Yeah, we can just be boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't think most people would do that.
Top comment, you called him out and now, apparently, he's going to backtrack instead of double down. Don't fall for it, OP. If you marry him, if he begged you to, theoretically, he'll just resent you for it. Honestly, people are so silly because having a baby together is way more of a commitment than marriage. And you've been together 8 years already. He's still afraid of verbally committing. This paperwork and single party is the line in the sand for him. The law already considers you married anyway, so it can't be divorce settlements he's worried about. He just doesn't want the commitment of marriage.
Right? He's already doing everything. You're living together. You got a baby together. You apparently have joint finances, and you've been together for 8 years. How is being married any different than being just living together? Really, the only difference is that you have a title. You're so committed to this relationship that it's not like you can just cut and run. I think that's entirely it, is the fear of like being locked in. You're locked in, bro. It sounds like happily locked in if you've been there for 8 years. He needs better friends.
Another comment makes a good point. I'd really start to reconsider spending the rest of your life with him. I think you've just lost respect for him, and don't be surprised if the love follows. I found that it's impossible to love someone whom you can't respect. I find it impossible to love someone who strings you along without telling you the truth about what they want. Don't be surprised if you end up not liking him anymore and not wanting to spend your life with him. It's okay to move on if you hit that point.
That's very true. This could very easily turn into not liking him anymore.
Another comment. We need to weigh the pros and cons. He's had 4 years since proposing to think about that. He absolutely doesn't want to get married. If he did, you would be. And someone replied to that. He was supposed to weigh the pros and cons before proposing.
Yeah, he's had 8 years to weigh the pros and cons. I don't understand why he would still be with her if he didn't like her at this point. Is it just easy so you don't want things to change? Because that's not how life works.
But even if I was with someone for 8 years and they were not excited to marry me, I don't think I'd want to be with them. I don't want someone who isn't excited to spend the rest of their life with me.
No, that's fair. You should be excited to marry the girl that you've been with for 8 years. You should be excited to take that next step. I don't know what's going on in his headspace, but yeah, you're probably better off handing that ring back to him.
Am I the asshole for recording my friend's fiancé at her bachelorette party and playing the recording for him? Good Lord, what happened at that bachelorette party?
That's what I was going to say. I know that the bachelor and bachelorette parties can get a little wild, but if it got so bad that you had to record it and tattle on them, oh boy.
I was invited to the bachelorette party for my friend's fiancé. It was over the long weekend at a vacation rental on the beach. There was booze, a hot tub, great food. It was definitely a hit. At one point, I was on the deck looking at the ocean, and the bride was drunk in the hot tub with 2 of her friends. She said she felt more relaxed than she had in a while. I assumed she was referring to wedding planning. One of her friends asked if she was having trouble with the little monster. She said no, that he was manageable, for now. At that point, I realized they were talking about my friend's son. I took out my phone and started recording them.
Oh, damn. You started recording early.
The bride's friends said horrible stuff about my friend's son, and the bride responded positively to everything, laughing and agreeing. Then she said that it was too bad he wasn't old enough to send to military school.
God damn.
I stopped recording when their topic changed. I don't think they ever realized I was close enough to hear them. When we got back, I asked to meet with my friend, and I played him the recording. He was quiet while he listened. After the recording was finished, he asked me to send it to him, which I did. Then he asked me to delete it, which I said I would do, but haven't yet.
Okay. I mean, that's probably smart.
I feel like an asshole for interfering. I really do. However, I'm worried about my friend's son. Depending on what my friend does, I might need to send this recording to the poor boy's family. I feel like I've overstepped, but what else can I do? Was I being an asshole?
I don't know if this level of like interference is really interfering. This is just looking out for your friend's kid. Like, if you're engaged to somebody and they're talking bad about your kid, you kind of want to know, right?
There must be something going on the comments because a lot of them have been removed by moderators, including the top comment. But the second top comment, you weren't being an asshole, you were being a concerned friend. If someone is about to marry a person who openly disrespects their child, they deserve to know. It's better he finds out now than after they're married. So that person agrees with you. That's just being a good friend and looking out for your friend.
Yeah, I mean, if the fiance is actively plotting to get rid of this kid by sending him off to military school once they're old enough, I'd want to know.
Yeah, she's like gone full evil stepmother.
Yeah, she kind of has. Like, it's almost like she's clearing out space so that she can start her own family, and we don't need that kid here anymore.
Okay, and there's an update. Yesterday, Friday afternoon, I got a text from my friend asking me to block his fiance's number. I was a bit thrown by the request and asked if everything was okay. He said he couldn't talk right now and asked me to please just block the number. So I blocked the number.
Oh boy. Is this because he gave up his source of information and she's going to come after you?
Anyway, I have this weird glitch with my Android Auto where if a blocked number calls me, it shows up in my recent calls as a missed call on my car screen, even though on my actual phone it doesn't ring at all. I was driving later and saw a ton of missed calls from her. There were so many it exceeded what my car will show me. But I kept the number blocked. I almost wouldn't keep it blocked. I want it for evidence. I want all those crazy voicemails she's leaving me for evidence.
I guess you kind of do, but also I bet all those crazy voicemails are incredibly hurtful to sift through.
Later, my friend's best friend, who was supposed to be the best man, called me and asked if I had heard from our friend. I said yes and asked why. He sent me a screenshot from the fiance's Facebook talking about how people show you their true colors and saying she was newly single. I tried to call my friend, but he didn't answer. Tonight, I finally heard back from him. The long and short of it was that he asked her about how she feels about his son. She said he's adorable and sweet. My friend played her the recording and she asked where he got it. He refused to tell her, saying it shouldn't matter. She immediately guessed it was me. He refused to confirm that. She was angry that he wouldn't tell her that I recorded their conversation and said she can't trust him anymore. She called off the wedding.
Oh, she called off the wedding.
Not a great update, but since so many of you were so invested, I thought you'd want to know.
She was right about what she said in that Facebook post, though. People do show you their true colors, and she showed everyone her true colors when she had that whole rant about the little turd or whatever she called him.
I think the friends called him a little monster.
Monster, yeah. And she just agreed, yeah. I don't want to marry someone who calls my kid a little monster.
Top comment on the update. So, she broke it off since he would not tell her. Did she address what she said in the video? This is crazy. Update me. And OP replies, he didn't give me a word-for-word rundown of their conversation, but from what he told me, once the topic shifted to her wanting to know who recorded her, it never went back to what she said. Someone says, that sounds a bit like Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender.
It does kind of sound like she's just deflecting over to who recorded me and not addressing the issue of what she said, right? Like, it's not like this is a court of law. There's no, like, I had a right to privacy here.
OP replies to that, yeah, it's weird. I didn't know what to expect, but it definitely wasn't this. I thought maybe she would say it was taken out of context or something, but shifting the topic completely from the son to the recording, that I did not anticipate. So she just completely ignored what she said and was like, someone took a recording of me and you won't tell me who and I can't trust you now, let's break up. I guess she saw that the writing was on the wall and that it was over, so it was better for her to break up with him than the other way around.
She ended it on her terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. She didn't get everything she wanted, so she's like, fine, I'm going to leave before you can dump me.
So Reddit seems to think that OP did the right thing and that this guy dodged a bullet and his son dodged a bullet by not marrying this lady who was going to be an evil stepmother.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like she was probably going to push to have him sent off to military school or something. Like, it sounds like she would not have been a great stepmom.
Well, that's our last story for this engagement canceling episode of Josh and Kristie Stealing the Internet.
Thanks for watching. Slap that subscribe button and we'll see you next time.